The last one of these was in 2020 or 2019 October. And it was hosted by Bill Gates, by Fauci, and by April Hayes. And interestingly, by George Gale, who is the head of the Chinese CDC in New York City. And any of you, I'm sure a lot of you have gone and looked at this on YouTube. It's called Event 201. And the fourth simulation that day, the last one, is all about how you use the pandemic as a pretense for clamping down for abridgments of freedom of speech, and particularly, how do you stop people from talking about a lab leak as the source of these viruses? So this in October 2019. None of us at that time had ever heard of COVID. We now know that COVID was almost certainly circulating by mid-September. On September 12th, the Chinese government kicked down the door of the Wuhan lab, brought in General Wei, which is a bioweapons expert from the People's Army, to run the lab and remove all the gain of function studies from their public-facing websites and all of the genomic sequences from all the viruses. The Chinese government clearly knew that the virus was circulating in September. So a month later, you have this. That same week, Bill Gates, who was overseeing this simulation, bought 1.1 million shares of BioNTech vaccine, which later became the Pfizer vaccine. He then sold that, almost all that stock, 87%, 2 years later, at a $242 million profit. And a week after that, he publicly announced the vaccine didn't work. Basically, he kind of pump and dump scheme. Because he was the guy who was on TV with his minion, Peter Hotez, who took $52 million from Gates for his institution. Gates made his institution. So you had the period then pumping up the stock for 2 years, and then dumping it a week before he goes on TV and says, oh, it didn't work after all.
Jeez.
Isn't that beautiful, Mike? Oh, man. How is it going out there, my fellow world patriots? That was a little RFK, and they're talking about some people seem to be making lots of money during all this COVID pump and dump scheme type of stuff, which was not cool at all, as we know. And we went through a lot of BS because of this. And one thing I'm going to pop up on the screen really quick, and then I'll bring you in, Mr. Mike, is what I'm about to show the folks here.
Okay.
Is this karma? Like, I don't know if somebody's like screwing with the building or something, but video shows inside the former Pfizer headquarters in Manhattan after the building was evacuated amid concerns over buckling columns and sagging floors during its conversion into apartments.
Oh, yeah.
So I think what they were saying, we covered it a little bit yesterday on Table of Titans, Mike. They were saying that essentially it's that they were trying to build a building on top of another building or something like that. And I'm like, oh, no, that's horrible.
So they had I got the bulletin from this. So they were building the apartments, condos on top of the main Pfizer building. And I guess you could say it's shoddy engineering, shoddy construction, and started collapsing.
That's crazy, right? And it's from what I've seen too, it looks like only the inside. I mean, I haven't seen extensive videos of the outside, but it looks like the outside's mainly intact, and the stuff on the inside is buckling over itself. But that's crazy.
The outside, if you look at the outside now, if you pull up a fresh video of it or picture, it's leaning. You can actually see it leaning. Yeah. Let
me see if I can pull outside of Pfizer building. This is bananas too, and so many wild things are being exposed in this last many days. That's interesting that I pull up Pfizer building and then the video I just comes up. But yeah, let me see. I don't know if they're showing high-rise beams bending like cigarettes. So that's not good for sure. Newport Beach. Is this Newport, Rhode Island? And dude, I got a couple of stories, unfortunately, about Rhode Island to cover today. I can't believe I have to do this. And I've been telling folks for years, Mike, that my state is absolutely one of the worst. I mentioned it yesterday that Gina Raimondo, Gina Raimondo was our governor, right? And her and her husband own a what do you call it? One of the marijuana facilities here in Rhode Island, at least one of them, the dispensaries, right? So they own one of those.
Yeah.
But she was the governor of Rhode Island for I don't know, 5 or 6 years, maybe a little bit more. But in friendliness for business, our state was like anywhere from 45th to 50th, right? Dead last. Bottom 5 for the last 5 years of her being governor. So of course, what does any wise president do? They put her as in charge of commerce. So that's what Biden's quote administration did, is put my governor, the worst friendliness with business, in charge of all business. And I'm like, is that a friggin' sparking red neon light or something? Because it seems like the last thing you would want to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
But dude, we keep getting these gifts like one of the first accounts, funnily enough, that I check nowadays is this Department of War, and especially the Department of War CTO. And well, wouldn't you know, this morning they happened to again post out my show, my Monday night show title, Hold the Line, Stay Locked In. It says never lose focus, Patriot. Stay locked in. Hold the line. And I looked up timestamps. Couldn't find anything with that, but I did find something else that I thought was interesting. I think I went with Stay Locked In. I think when I started searching for locked in. Oh no! I went Hold the Line, Riders. Justice is coming. So the only thing I found on this, I'm sure my co-host on Sunday will find 16 different things or 17 different things to find with it, but. Hold the line, Riders. Justice is coming. We keep getting these little bits of like air in our sails here, many over the last many months, which of course I very much enjoy. And I know a lot of people that have been covering this stuff we've been covering for the last many years thoroughly enjoy this as well. So it's almost like a little shot in the shoulder, when I see these, because they're increasing like left and right and silly sideways. So I'm absolutely loving to see this stuff in our timeline, because it's I didn't think they would be this outward with it. I never thought they would be this out in the open with it, but hey, they absolutely are, and nobody seems to ask President Trump any questions, dude. So I thought that was beyond funny. Mike, you actually will find this one very interesting. You ready? Here we go. Yeah. Did you see about the guys in South Carolina? They did a little buzz. I think it's South Carolina. We're going to find out right here. They did a buzz flyby. Well, apparently National Guard had put them under suspension or something like that. Well, the SecDef says, "Niet, we will not do this, and we are not the communist nation." Although that was pretty damn dangerous, dude. Do you think you would ever fly a helicopter that low next to civilians? That is pretty damn low.
It's a little close. It's a little close for comfort, and if something were to go wrong, there would have been a lot of damage. But I could understand.
Yeah, right.
It's cool. I mean, here at the beaches in Southern California, like especially San Diego, there's a ton of helicopters, aircraft that always do low flybys, but that's actually the lowest I've ever seen. Especially at Huntington Beach or San Diego upwards.
Yeah, this one was South Carolina. And I remember this one, dude. This is just a little funny trip down memory lane because my buddy, I believe it's one of my buddy Hulkinator's favorite bands or favorite rock stars here. But I don't know if you remember this one. Kid Rock.
Oh yeah.
He was visited by Apache military helicopter when he was standing in his Tennessee home, which I think looks just like the White House as well. See right there, the Southern White House up on the top there. But I think they got reprimanded or something like that, and he was like, "Dude, it's cool. They're flying by. It's cool, no big deal." And he loved it, obviously. And it's just like that's not hurting anybody. But I could see where people would, get a little concerned over this one because this first dude was he was especially low. I mean, one little hard push of wind, that dude could have definitely hurt somebody. This guy was a little higher up, not by much, and the next guy was a little higher up than that. So, and I think the last guy was even higher. But that first dude that came through, that look,
Yeah. You could jump up and touch the wheels.
right? Like one little gust of wind on that one, and people are goners. Let me see. We're getting a message from Mr. Ghost. He's had a hectic morning. Well, it looks like it's gonna be me and you, brother. Oh no, are we gonna be able to handle? Yeah, we'll be fine. But yeah, take care of yourself, Ghost brother. We got you. He had a hectic morning apparently. And I know from time to time, I don't know, is it every Friday he's doing that drive, or he has to do it once a month? 'Cause I know he has to do like a bunch of driving.
Well, yeah, so we have a good friend, Judd Sloan. He's protected this country for 30 plus years. He's worked with the president as chief of staff for a certain organization. And unfortunately, he's a more importantly, he's a family member, he's a friend, a mentor. And he's just become very ill, and due to his age and due to his timing with health, it's it comes to some sadness that it's that time to move on to the next portion of life. So
yeah. That's definitely not cool. Well, I mean, of course, it is the cycle of life, unfortunately, and
yeah.
but definitely prayers out to your brother there for sure. And a lot of folks, a lot of people have done a lot for this country that I think will never go recognized. But sometimes that comes part of what certain people sign up for, right? I guess you have the general military, but then you have certain people that will sign up for things that you're just never gonna, you might save the world, right? But you're never gonna get the public thank you or anything like that. So yeah, there are a lot of people out there. But dude, I had sent this one to you last night, and you and Ghost, because I was like, wait, dude, this didn't make much sense to me. And so Hulkinator had covered it on a different link, and then I think it was a different link, but I ended up finding for Military Times as well. And I know you guys have a lot of experience with the military, but so this article came out in Military Times yesterday. It says the Air Force's C-5M Super Galaxy aids in destruction of $5 billion worth of illegal drugs. And I'm like, my thought was like, wait, so they're going to move 23 pallets of, I'm guessing, cocaine, methamphetamines, things like that, from California, it looks like, all the way over to, is it Ohio? Yeah, Ohio here. In mid-May, they airlifted narcotics using a C-5 Super Galaxy from March Air Reserve Base, geez, Mike, California to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio, ahead of its transport to an incinerator facility in Indiana to be destroyed. So I'm like, wait, is it because it's such large quantities, they only have a huge incinerator in this area, or does that pique your interest at all?
Well,
Does that seem weird to you?
It does pique my interest, like, so I worked hazmat hazardous waste for MCOM as a chief program manager, and it did catch my eye. So March Air Force Base is based out of Riverside, California. It's, even though it says reserve base, there's an active large portion active component to the base. During Iraqi freedom and in the Afghan war, OIF, and it just during both of those wars, they actually the drones that you're seeing flown over in the Middle East conducting missions and targeting and surveillance were actually flown, or they were flown by pilots in pods outside of March Air Force Base. And but it,
Wow.
so to kind of give a little backstory, it's a reserve but also active active status base. But what really caught my eye with this is that okay, so in hazardous waste, let's say we're getting rid of you know contaminated soil, narcotics, or motor oil, or caustic types of chemicals that they just didn't use in the military or DoD didn't use. The Department of Defense has hazardous waste technicians that are in charge of that, and typically what they do is they'll load that stuff on back of large certified hazmat semi trucks, and they'll take it to certain incinerators or certain facility. I can't give out the locations because they're secret or classified, but they're so it's where all the hazardous waste in the Southwest or the Northwest or the Midwest. They have these general storage, destruction, holding areas, facilities to where all of this stuff goes to either get destroyed or stored. And that even includes nuclear radioactive waste as well. And so, some of these places, like I said, the states, so it'd be Arizona, New Mexico,
Near the
Northern
border.
California near Edwards, and so what caught my eye was the Air Force is using, it's not so much the Air Force, but they're using an Air Force, plane to transport and publicly talk about, you know, transporting, 23 pallets, of whatever the drug may be, which is interesting. And I sent this article over to a friend of mine who's a director of has waste for a certain base, and he didn't even know about it. And so,
Wow.
if my buddy didn't even know about it, I'm just like, okay, it's a little more weird than I thought. And he started looking into incinerator facilities in Indiana. I found a couple, but he couldn't find any incinerator facilities that could withstand the bulk. Because sometimes when you're sending stuff to the incinerator, you got drugs, and it could be any type of drug. But we're talking about like kilos, pallets. We got guns. We're taking guns across to destroy the guns. They put the firearms through the incinerators, putting narcotics through the incinerators. Even demo. They'll take apart demo, and if it's safe, they'll put it through an incinerator. It's just super. I don't know. It's like my gut feeling, right? It's there's something more to this, and trying to learn more about what's more to this, if in fact that's what they're doing, what they're saying it is at all, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it might be a little shell game or something like that. But yeah, it's definitely very weird. But dude, we got no shortage of weird stuff that we've been seeing. You ready? You ready? Yeah, I think I may have sent this to you guys last night as well, because I'm like, wait, what? All right, so here we go. This one, and I don't know, dude, So here we go. All Tennessee federal judges recused from Candace Owens' lawsuit. Unprecedented judicial steps, says all district and magistrate judges in Tennessee's Middle District have recused from hearing the defamation case against Candace Owens here. Says defamation claims plaintiff Harpole alleges Owens falsely tied him to a conspiracy in the killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Next legal step, the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals will appoint an outside judge before proceedings can continue. So then I'm wondering, like, when they set one of these outside people, are they going to recuse as well? Because, I think like a lot of people will agree that we don't think we're getting a fulsome story on this, and we don't really exactly know why, but
Right.
I've shown footage of 30-06s being shot at skeletal dummies, and
Hmm.
what was one of them, an elk femur, right, which is their bones are so much stronger than ours, and
Yeah.
that 30-06 turned that thing into a toothpick. And so I just had a big problem with it. And then we have all sorts of facts being laid out that are just not making sense in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
Especially my favorite though, Mike, is because the official story is that he shot Charlie with a 30-06 from the roof, and then had a screwdriver and broke the gun down, because you need a screwdriver apparently to break that type of gun down. And then he put it in a bag and jumped off the roof, and then went into the woods for a little bit and hid, and then said, "You know what? I'm gonna hide this gun. Let me
Put it
put it
back
back
together.
together."
Yeah.
Dude, like what? So there's
Yeah.
so many inconsistencies with this story. And then, oh, by the way, I played it last week sometime. Essentially, the body cam footage, as they say, oh, the guy's about to grab the screwdriver. Oh, the body cam footage camera dies. Oh, sorry,
Right.
lost batteries. And then they say, oh, did you go back and
Well,
recharge it? No.
yeah, and have you read the text messages from Tyler Robinson? And
Oh
if
yeah.
you read like the his previous text messages and the ones that they're using in court, the grammar doesn't quite match.
No, it was definitely
Yeah,
AI.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm not saying it's AI or but you can say it's something else or somebody else.
Hmm.
But the grammar, especially to the friend, because I was watching it last night on Asmongold, and he had pulled up the text messaging for the prosecutions, and I'm like, again, that the syntax of the message, it's not normal as his normal writing or texting style pattern.
Mm.
And there's so many so I watched this from the very beginning. When when we all saw what happened to to Charlie, unfortunately, and the big blowout in the side of his neck, and which is all pretty much scrubbed and sanitized now. Unless somebody saved it somewhere. But I remember watching that, and they were saying that there's no exit wound, and I'm just like, that doesn't make any sense. And then later on through the months and year, we start to hear about different stories of just different little odd things of lapel mics and other international organizations set up about there's supposed to be there was supposed to be a meeting held in Israel that he backed out of, and because he backed out of that meeting within the day, they were having, the day he left his house, him and his wife Erica were having an argument over the matter, and he shows up to that event, and ultimately what happens. Um, but then you have the aircraft. It took off, turned off the responder, and there's just so many things tied into this that it makes the investigators' eyes go in so many different directions. But when you stay on pattern, if you, and I remember from the very beginning, because I got it as soon as he got shot. We were on it, and we were watching everything, laid out. And so there was a person in the tree. Yeah, I guess you could. I don't know the exact coordinates he was at, but let's just say, from where he was sitting, just south of him, in a tree line, there was a person in the tree line wearing all black, up in the thickets of the top of the tree, came down, got in the highway, and got in the black SUV, and that SUV took so and so's or such person to an airport where they boarded that plane, that private jet, and that private jet took off and, then landed where it did. So there's a lot to this that, even the prosecution and the defense, they're not even talking about. And in the scope of it, it's Tyler Robinson's just, in my view, in my opinion, in my view, he's he's a patsy.
Oh yeah.
And from the beginning of the arrest, and mind you, there was colonels, there were regional special agents, that were all talking to each other and like, why is he arrested? Because he looks weird. And then we all found out that there was all these setups. Oh, you're talking the car here. Did you hear about the auction of the car?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So the SUV that they took him to the hospital in was auctioned off. Okay, so before it was put into a bill of sale to be sold for auction at the auction house, the SUV was completely gutted out, and I'm telling you, I'm like, this thing was sanitized to the bone. No carpeting, no back seats, no. I mean, everything was just clean as a whistle. Like there's no forensic team that's going to find anything within this car. And then it was sold to a third person private party, and from wherever it went there, that's about all we know. But we do know that the vehicle was sold at an auction house, and the auction house owners were connected to Erica Kirk's family.
Oh shit! Of course.
Yeah. So you could probably pull it up here. Charlie Kirk's vehicle that was auctioned off. It should be on X.
This one's saying that the seats were ripped off before the auction. This is just a quick search, the quick first one that I saw, so I'll keep looking. But yeah, I mean, to be honest with you,
there's a video of it, and they rip up the carpet, they rip up the floorboards. Everything is just ripped up, and they sold it as is. And the license plate was pretty interesting. I can't remember. It was like 30. I think it was C32. W X-ray, something like that, for the car, for the SUV. But there's a video of it where it shows everything, and someone's obviously doing obfuscation and doing their best to hide it what they can.
Wow. All right, Mike. I'm gonna put Mike through a test right here. I'm gonna try to let you see. All right, so don't look at the screen for a second, all right? Because I'm gonna pull a post up, but then I want to pull up the image quick, and I want to see if you notice it, because I mean I wouldn't know what to see either way.
You want my eyes closed?
All right, now you can look now. Anything wrong with this gun? I mean, I don't know if you can even notice. I couldn't tell the difference.
No, I've seen this. Yeah, there's multiple things wrong with this gun. Okay, the scope, you're going to break it down. I mean, if you were to put this in your pants, okay, you're going to walk like, you have a stiff leg that's been, you sat on the toilet for 45 minutes scrolling on your Instagram and you have a dead leg. And you're not going to be able to walk up the stairs the correct way. And then again, if you did legitimately break this rifle down, it's going to be sticking up out of his college backpack. You're going to have you're going to have that whole portion right there just sticking out.
That's crazy.
It's a single piece. It's a single piece firearm. It's not a traditional M16A2 or M4. Where you break it apart, you could take off, you could, just, pull it apart for cleaning as usual. And, you have all the specific spots you put everything in, to where you could actually do that, put it in the backpack and, then put it back together again.
You want to hide it in the bushes, make sure you make it long again. Like that makes, and to be honest with you, I don't even know how this gun gets broken down. My guess is that they would probably take the barrel off and then run it next to it, like with this. I'm not a gun expert, I would think, because they said you need a screwdriver essentially to break this gun down. Which again, wait, and speaking of, so this is what you said. Seats were ripped off, and this one right here. So what you were saying earlier, and I don't know that I agree with this part of it. I do kind of would lean towards that lavalier mic looked pretty suspicious. However, the part I don't agree with, it says, that the pictures in the car look like a bunch of shattered glass or tempered glass from a Rode microphone. And I'm like, that's, to my opinion,
No.
if it blew up
Yeah.
on his shirt, they wouldn't have dragged him all the way to the car and it wouldn't have had all this residue here still. That's probably, I don't know, glass from the window or something like that would be my guess, but that's too much to be a little lavalier microphone,
Yeah, I would agree with you. That's going to be shrapnel from something else. And it does the black chunks there does look portions of like black tempered glass. So it's a little it's odd.
The
It is
whole
odd.
damn thing is just beyond weird. And last week too, the I covered it a little bit, so I won't bore you with it now. But essentially, the Inspector General came out with a report last week, showing essentially the issues with Butler, and there were so many. I mean, apparently they missed, I think it was 192. It was either 92 or 192 messages, because the local police weren't talking with the Secret Service. So that was like one major issue. And then another issue was that nobody made sure certain areas, like specifically the area they alleged the shooter was from, had a basically straight shot right from that roof right directly to the stage where President Trump was. So they said, oh, nobody went over there and blocked that area. I mean, that whole Butler thing was a big glaring, failure of security. But again, I don't know. Certain people will go on and say certain things online, and I don't like to do it, but I gotta say, dude, the whole thing with that gentleman, Corey Comparatori, that got apparently shot during the Butler thing, he was a fireman, and when they honored him at his funeral, they brought out his jacket and they spelt his name wrong. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, really?
Yeah.
I don't know. So again, I don't, want to say that anybody was or wasn't shot, but I just know the fact of, I have a few friends that are firefighters and they take that stuff very seriously, right? And it's like, especially if somebody dies, you would make sure the name was right.
I was a firefighter for a couple of years.
Right, and if somebody passed away, you would probably make sure their name was spelled right on their jacket, right? My guess would be
1,000%. That's in with uniforms. Everything it's just like the military. Everything is asymmetric. It's proper. Your Class A, Class B uniforms. Even if you're just wearing shorts and a firefighter T-shirt that you wear for your station, there's no misspelling. And if you have your name on your shirt, but in this cases, it's just like it's 100 degrees out. You have to wear a soft T-shirt, and you have your first name on the front of your shirt under your firefighter crest, with your duty, EMT or paramedic or firefighter. So that's very odd that they would misspell somebody's name,
And we've seen so many weird things over these last many years. And again, you would better know the procedures in line with, handing off evidence for law enforcement much better than I would, which is very limited. But so essentially, this dude, I don't know if he has the video in here. Anyways, when Charlie was shot, you had a couple dudes. One of the dudes jumped right over the table, clearly grabbed something, handed it off to somebody else. But then after they pulled Charlie off, this guy, Terrell Farnsworth, stood up on the chair and he collected the SD card. Well, when they go to court, they says, well, what'd you get? And they say, yeah, they gave us a flash drive.
It's not an SD card.
Yeah, so you don't have flash drives and cameras, right? You have SD cards.
Is he the same? Is he the same guy that took down the camera too? That back camera?
Yes. Yep. That's exactly him. Yep.
Okay. Alrighty.
So very weird, right? And
well, in there, and so you're talking about evidence. There's a thing called chain of custody, and right after the shooting, the chain of custody for the evidence was destroyed. People were taking down cameras, taking stuff up the ground, moving tables and chairs. There was like a hidden pocket door under the ground or something where something happened with someone went in to do something or cabling or whatever it was. I'm not sure what it was. But the evidence scene was tampered with. So if you were a homicide investigator going into there, where do you even begin? Because there's evidence that's been taken, there's evidence that's been misconstrued, misplaced, moved around. And, yes, it's a chaotic scene. Of course, it's a chaotic scene. And then you have private people holding on to evidence, primary evidence that, shows, the homicide, in fact, happening in front of the camera. And what gives him that permission to grab that evidence and hold on to it? He's not law enforcement. He's not a homicide detective. He's not a patrolman, to secure the scene or to take that evidence. What gives him that permission to take that? I mean, that's my counter to it. Once you have a homicide team that comes in or the FBI investigators that come in, which would do the same thing as a homicide team, they're going to want to look for the evidence. And here he is taking he takes the camera down. You just said he took the flash drive, and the other character piece of, information. And it's just, there's too many things.
Right.
And it just boggles my mind to, why would your best friend, okay, so put it in the shoes, like me, you, and Ghost are, on the beach doing like a symposium or something. And, one of us unfortunately gets shot, right? Are we going to tamper with any of the evidence, to like, no.
Hell no.
We're going to let the law enforcement come in, do their job, and find out who did it. Yeah, it's going to suck. There's an unfortunate loss of life, and, one of us had passed away. But, I know I would want law enforcement to do their due diligence and, find, who's behind this. And there's just a lot of it just doesn't make sense.
Dude, even this part was super weird too. I don't know. Did you remember seeing this part? A kid was out here talking like after it happened, and I don't know. If anybody hasn't seen it, it's definitely worth a listen. But so he's out here talking about this afterwards, and then I guess people from the group come up and stop telling him to stop talking. And well, what is he saying?
Out of his neck, down his shirt, and he slumped over and he was carried off.
So he's basically just telling what he saw, and people are coming over here like, stop telling what you saw. And he's like, what? That's like weird. So that's 226.
So I haven't seen that before, but it seems like you have some control agents in the crowd that are going around watching people to make sure what they say. And what a control agent does is they do what they're doing just there is, if there's media, they come in, interrupt it, and interfere so that, information isn't conveyed from their firsthand account to the media to where, it can start making a pattern. And so those control agents, what they do is, they create obfuscation.
Yeah, you
So
got.
I'm not saying that person is a control agent, but if you were to have control agents, that's what they typically would do.
If there was a control agent, that was the guy. Yeah, I would agree too. And so there's other very interesting things too. He says 204. The guy basically looks away. So if we go here, but what they're saying is at 204 when the shooting happens, these guys immediately look away to the area in which they're going to be pulling Charlie from. So it's like, I mean, just the whole thing was really weird. And I don't know if you can see it from this perspective, but The guy literally jumps over the table and it's like, oh wow, he's gonna help Charlie, and then he grabs something, puts it in his back pocket, mixes with some guy over here who walks around the other side and takes off. So yeah, the whole damn thing is super, super suspect, and I don't know that we're gonna, yeah, I don't know if you saw the video too, and people were making a big deal. Maybe she just had to go somewhere. Maybe she didn't want to, sit for the rest of the trial. But at least one of the days, Erica Kirk had left early, I guess they were saying. So like, oh my God, she left the thing early. That's so crazy. And I'm like, well, maybe she had something to do that day. And, I don't know if I would want to sit there and have to watch that farce myself and try to keep a straight face, because whatever happened is weird. And I just found this out this week. I don't know, one of you guys or one of my other buddies sent it to me. Apparently those blue eyes that she got, those beautiful blue eyes, are fake. She's been wearing contacts, and I thought that was like super uncomfortable. I thought when you wear contacts for a long period of time, actually here you go, wears bright blue colored contact lenses as a cosmetic choice. So there's from this. Apparently these are fake. I mean, what isn't is what I'm wondering. And that dude, man, I don't know. Anytime I watch him, like I watched, as I scroll through the internet, I'll let me get her off of here because she's freaking even me out. As I'm, scrolling through, of course, from time to time, you'll see a clip from Charlie, and I'm like, dude, that dude was freaking absolutely brilliant. If he didn't have a photographic memory, I don't know who did, because he seemed to be able to recall facts at lightning speed. And I'm like, did this dude had somebody in his ear, like somebody with a friggin' AI computer in his ear the whole time? Because he was and he was fast with it too. You know what I mean? They'd be like, oh, can you give me an example of this without using any whatever talking points? He's like, oh, how about this? You want me to go back this? How far you want me to go back? 1400? You want me to go back this? And I'm just like, dude, how does this dude recall so quickly? And I mean, I would just give it to the dude. Probably was sharp as they come, really. Great mind. Charlie Kirk. I mean, just the mind of how fast he responded to everything, and the speed in which he did it. I was the dude was amazing for sure. And
absolutely.
So yeah, hopefully we get some answers.
I'm sorry, I thought you were referring to someone on the witness stand.
No. Those people don't have good answers.
Yeah, no, agreed. Charlie was an amazing, talented, gifted human being. And it comes to sadness, that something like this happened. And what I do know a little bit is that I know that he was talked about for the running of the presidential election of 2028. So I know if not many people have heard that, I have heard through scuttlebutt, and that was actually talked about. So
that would have been he would have been hard pressed to lose any votes on our side for sure.
Right.
So something I was just mentioning. Let me see, kind of popped this into my head because we were going to talk about it anyway. I thought this was just great. Now, what was this here? I think I had done this for a reason, but all right, I'm going to go with this one first. Wait, you know what? I'm going to go with the drop here. Here we go. So we got a post, and I'm bringing something current to this. So this is a post from April 28, 2020. And we have our trader, Henry Kissinger. Quote, today, Americans would be outraged if UN troops entered Los Angeles to restore order. Tomorrow, they'll be grateful. This is especially true if they were told there was an outside threat from beyond, whether real or promulgated, that threatened our very existence. It is then that all peoples of the world will pledge with world leaders to deliver them from this evil. The one thing every man fears is the unknown. When presented with the scenario, individual rights will be willingly relinquished for the guarantee of their well-being granted to them by their world government. Henry Kissinger, in an address to the Bilderberg meeting in Evian, France, May 21st, 1992. So, their plan was to keep hitting us with all of these attacks and then essentially have us put our hands up and say, okay, enough. Patriot Act, times 100, make it even worse, do whatever you have to do, but make it so we don't get attacked anymore. Well, I think you guys might enjoy this one. We have some comments and a article from The Economist talking about, quote, the world order built after 1945 is unraveling, warns Canada's Prime Minister and Finland's president in a guest essay. Register for free to read this, why they believe institutions as they stand are ill-prepared to avert this decline. Excuse me. I'm getting my little... Hold on.
Mhm.
There we go. My little pollen had to clear the pepe in my throat. But The Economist is posting out, a dual message here from, looks like, is Prime Minister Carney? I think it's Carney, right? And Finland's president. In a guest essay that they wrote, the world order is unraveling. And I only love to hear things like that, of course. They talk about the international rules-based order over in UK, and I believe Carney as well has talked about it recently. And essentially, President Trump is trying to get away from that system. But it looks like what we're trying to do here, Mike, is starting to work, perhaps, or at least we're getting indications, anyways, even from the bad guys, that their own system is unraveling. So I'm definitely loving this.
Right.
It's not as fast as everybody would have wanted, but I've said it numerous times in the past when I started covering this genre in general, January 1st, 2018. And then I think by April, May, I was like, dude, where the hell are the arrests, right? And I laugh at that person. I laugh at that version of me because I'm like, I had no idea how deeply entrenched these people were, and they are deeply entrenched all over the world, right? Like they are absolutely everywhere, and there's so many tentacles in all these different states. But dude, I was watching after I did the Table of Titans last night. I actually uploaded a little short onto Rumble. So if I can find it here, I'll play it without sound and show you guys what I'm talking about. So I even put this, I put the, what do you call it? I put the date and everything on this. So let me make sure here and get rid of this and bring it over. Okay. So let me pop this one up. I'll make sure we're not, should be good here. Make sure it's not going to mute tab. Okay. So basically, I posted this out, I think, at like 2 a.m. last night. And it was 2CTV. And he says, in a map that you're going to see in a little bit here, a bunch, apparently, of IRGC members were assassinated in that area of the Khamenei funeral. And then he goes on to say, essentially, that you had a bunch of assassinations up here, a couple attacks here, a couple attacks here, one deep inside here. But this specific report, so he had one that was 12 hours old, and that was different than this report that was 6 hours old at the time when I did it at 2 a.m. And what he was saying during all these attacks right here, guess there were 2 countries that were not involved. And those 2 countries were the United States and Israel. So the 2 countries, the 2 countries that were not involved were the United States and Israel, and it was the Arab states like Kuwait and a couple of these other countries in the Middle East there that are actually starting to clean up their own backyard. And so I found it to be very interesting that, because, and he says that they are attributing the assassinations to what he calls, and I've reported what he's reported a few times, which is they call it the Immortal Guard. Have you ever heard of that, Mike? I don't know if me and you have ever discussed that.
No, I don't think I have.
So this guy 2CTV here says essentially, that in Iran, I forgot how many, I think he said close to 1 million, there are people that call themselves the Immortal Guard that are essentially against the IRGC. And they're waiting for a specific, signal to let them know it's time. And then at that time, they're going to take out a bunch of IRGC leadership, which apparently happened, last night around 8 p.m. Eastern time. And like I said, I uploaded this and I put a date on it and time just so people knew which report I was citing here. But for me, it's very interesting to see the Arab states starting to act, seemingly, on their own there. And I don't know what part of President Trump's talks with President Putin and Xi of China have had to do with this, but it looks like these guys are starting to fight their own wars and starting to quote that Nicolas Cage movie when he's beating the crap out of that other guy, the other Democrat dude there. Time for those of you to clean up your own backyard, and that's what we need, because I've said this in the past too, Mike. Years ago, whenever you would look at, we have a Air Force base here in Rhode Island. It's called Quonset Air Force Base. And I know for a fact 10 years ago, if you went to that website, and actually I can type in the website right now. Here it is. Global Security, right there.
Yeah.
Yep. So globalsecurity.org, that would pull up the website for my Quonset Air Force Base here in Rhode Island previously. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, so global security, I always had a problem with, because I'm like, we should be taking care of our own country here. Where was I going with this one here, though? Hold on.
That website has been around for over 20 years.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if you knew that, but they've been around for over 20. It's when AOL first came out. Mm-hmm. That's when they came out. Not even joking. Not even joking. It's
apparently we have a if I'm remembering correctly as well, we have like a Special Forces National Guard base in Rhode Island as well. I think it's in Coventry. I'd have to look that up, but I was like, wait, National Guard also have Special Forces?
Isn't it the 19th? It's either Bravo or Delta team.
Let's see.
Or sorry, company.
Coventry, RI, National Guard, Special Forces. Let's see if that pops up. I know there's a Special Operations Detachment.
Yeah.
SOG, the National Guard Special Forces unit located at the Coventry Air National Guard Station in Coventry. And dude, I've driven by this place. It's tiny. Like it's got to be tiny, because it goes down like a side road. It was 5 or 6 minutes up the road from a place I worked for like 10 years. I wonder if it shows this, because I never seen inside of the place. But SOG, National Air Force, SEAL support.
Okay. All right, so SOG, National Guard, well, it should be Special Operations Command, or Special Operations Detachment, not Special Forces.
Nuclear detection capabilities also.
Yeah, okay, so the 13th Civil Support Team, which provides chemical, biological, nuclear detection, CBRNE, is also stationed at the Coventry Air National Guard Station. The primary Special Operations Detachment, I'll just say Special Forces Recruiting and Operational Unit for the State Company A, 2nd Battalion, 19th Special Forces Group. Okay, so, all right. So they do have a 19th in there. A Company, 2nd Battalion, located in Middleton Armory, Milton, Rhode Island. And then as a detachment to them, or you can say attachment, whatever you want. You have the SOG. So SOG gives a lot of flexibility to augment what 19th needs to do or have done. It's the same thing all over the U.S.
I had no idea I had all these bases here. I mean, I knew about the Coventry one because I worked there, and I knew about the one in Quonset. This is new to me. Middletown? I had to go to the friggin' registry a month ago, and it's just beach traffic like crazy going down to Middletown and Wakefield, Rhode Island. But I had no idea we had things there. But yeah, that's pretty crazy, and I didn't know. National Guard had Special Forces units, and even nuclear sniffing capabilities. That's
so
cool.
So for National Guard Special Forces, they do the same requirements, same qualifications, anything that regular Army, big Army has to do. National Guard, Special Forces has to do the exact same qualifications. And so, if anyone's thinking, oh, National Guard SF, like it's going to be lower or it's going to be a little bit less than regular SF, like, no. They do the exact same quals, the exact same training. In fact, even if you're in the National Guard and you want to go do SF, Ranger School, whatever school you want to go to, you go into Big Army, which is active Army. You go to the active Army component base where you have Special Forces training. You go through the Nasty Nick. You go through Camp Slappy. You go through every single course that is set up for you to pass or not pass Special Forces selection. Then everything after Special Forces selection, which I really can't comment on too much on, but it's they go through it. All in all, the National Guard SF goes through all of the exact same training that regular Big Army SF goes through their training.
That's badass. Didn't know we had such badasses in my state, in my little liberal state.
Yeah. And a lot of them, a lot of the guys in the reserves for the National Guard reserves that are in SF, a lot of them are doctors, law enforcement, FBI agents. I'm not saying that's everybody, but it's just it's like, I guess you could say like 80% of them are going to be law enforcement, fire department, medical doctors, physicians, nurses, somewhere in that category that they have their regular day jobs. That's what it's going to pertain to. And then you have some, regular, business owners, they have their own big businesses. And that's kind of what the group bracket is composed of.
That's badass.
Down here with a little to give an example insight is down here with my team, and there's a reserve area. The reserve team, you have guys in SAD and SAD K. SAD K is Indo-Pacific. For SAD K Indo-Pacific, all of those guys, a good majority of them are LAPD, LA Sheriff, Riverside Sheriff, LA Fire Department. There's physicians from Cedars-Sinai, other hospitals, and it's just it's a big mix up of professional occupations, if that makes sense.
Oh, definitely. All right, so I'm blocking the screen here. I did some editing to this. Now I don't know if this, if this is okay. Yes, let me know. But nobody's seeing the screen right now, and I didn't block out the flag, so I don't know if that needs to be blocked out or if that's okay.
Yeah, I block it out.
Okay, so I won't show that now.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get rid of that. Okay, next show, guys, we'll show you Mike's team in a blurry fashion, but we're not going to show you the flag and I wanted to make sure of that first before I did that because I don't want that coming out. But
it's only because it's an active team.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. No, not a problem at all. Never going to show anything that these guys don't want out there. Bing. All right, so we got some very interesting, stuff too. These are the people, and I just want to cover this one pretty quickly. But these I think I reposted. I put oh God, hey, look at this. I mean, they are just trying to make more money out of you. It's so ready. Watch. Let's boost the visibility. Hey, I'd like to boost my post. Oh no, yeah, it's gonna be something for sure. Oh yeah, let me put in
demographics.
I can reach 71,000 to 120,000 people if I pay $1,000. Kiss my ass. You can kiss. Leave. We don't want to boost this one. All right. So I said is deporting Americans, with the facepalm emoji, is what the liberal momos on the left would say, and of course I say, good riddance. But here we go. And again, this is the narrative. This is why I think the media is some of the worst folks out there, because I think they truly need to make it so if you want to get that license for the SEC or whatever it is, that you have to be reporting accurate news, not just all this bullcrap. Because this story on CNN probably would turn into, oh look, they're deporting another American. Listen to this one, Mike. This is
Okay.
Just weeks ago, a convicted sex offender and a foreign national was shielded from deportation by the governor of Minnesota. Laotian national Tu Li Vang was convicted of repeatedly sexually abusing a 10-year-old girl in the state of Minnesota. He even tried to pay his victim for her silence, and he called his heinous crimes a minor thing. Just days before this foreign sex offender was scheduled to be deported, Tim Walz, the governor, issued him a pardon, setting him free to once again endanger the children of America.
Yep.
Well, this week I revoked his legal status in the United States, and as a result, federal agents took him into custody, and as of today, he has been removed from the United States. Because of our action, this foreign criminal will never pose a threat to any American ever again. Americans must never be forced by their elected leaders to live alongside foreign sex criminals who have no right to begin with to reside in our country. This administration will always stand with the American people and defend them from violent criminals.
How
No.
disgusting, dude, right? I mean,
The one thing about Tim Walz, and this goes back quite a few years, is, I worked when we had the riots, the George Floyd riots. We were working over there helping them out, and we had the National Guard out there, and we were actually in the 3rd precinct, when it was, overcome and burned to the ground, and we had to exfil out of the back. And so, for just that caveat point, when we were asking for help for the National Guard and other county sheriffs and the Minnesota State Police to come in, it went up to Governor Walz, and Governor Walz denied it. And so it was us, the police, and a couple other agencies we were all left on our own to exfil out of that dangerous, hostile environment where they took over the police station. And, and I'm sure somebody has a video of it somewhere. We had to break down the back wall and get, and basically just exfilled out of there with vehicles and on foot out of the back, because we had Walz denied any of the other sheriff's department, any of the other state police National Guard to come in and aid to help us get out. And mind you, my friends that made the calls to Walz still have recordings of that. So if sometime in the future my buddies come out and release that, then so be it. But it is what it is. Everyone got out as safely as we could. And God bless, thank God for that. And but the other thing is with Tim Walz is his relationship and his networking with not so many good people, and where with all the fraud going on, I'm just gonna kind of leave it here, and with this is, if all of that fraud and money is going out to those people, I would probably check his bank accounts or his wife's bank accounts or other family members
right.
to see how much money got, how many transactions of hundreds of thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars were put into those various accounts. And I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's cool. All right. So again, we're gonna tap into your experience of your military experience, and this is this is gonna be funny. Just give me a percentage. So this is February of 2019, and I'm sure you've seen this. A lot of people have seen this as well. Give me a percentage of what faith you put from what I'm about to show you is a training exercise. Let me see. Did I get the right one here? Just to make sure. What percentage do you put on this would be a training exercise, knowing this is downtown LA 2019, and we got I forget how many times we get a bunch of Blackhawks come in rolling down LA, landing there. What percentage did you put on that's a training operation?
Oh, is this the recent one?
No, this is the one from 2019. This
Oh,
is one of my favorites.
2019.
At the, I
Okay.
think they call it the Guatemalan House or something like that. I believe this was the same incident, but they had a bunch of Blackhawks come in, land, and then people came out, and you can clearly see they were carrying things. Like there's 3 or 4 people carrying one thing that comes down. I think it's this passed by here. Let me see.
Okay.
Oh, right there. See
Okay.
that? So again, being that this is downtown LA,
Can you go back?
2019. Yeah, absolutely. Let me go back here. I'll go nice and slow for you here. 0.25 speed. We'll see.
Have the one with the helicopter coming over?
Yeah,
It
right.
keeps, what is this doing?
So these guys right here, you can see 4 guys look like they're carrying
Yep.
one thing, and then 3 guys appear to be carrying another thing. And you know, they could be training to remove things in and out, but as far as I understand it, Mike, we have military bases in this country and other countries that are literally the size of huge cities, right?
Yeah.
So the idea that we need to fly training
It
missions.
looks like just from what I'm seeing, it looks like they have something on like a lift blanket, like a lift assist blanket, where you lay out a blanket, the blanket has handles,
Oh, I get what you're
and
saying.
you,
Yeah,
you
like,
throw a bunch of stuff on top of it, and then you just load it up into the helo. It doesn't, it's hard to see. I could see 2 different white elements to each of the loads.
yeah, plus it's a little blurry as well. But
Yeah.
I mean, as far as flying, let's say 10 Black Hawk helicopters down Rodeo Drive.
Yeah. Well, for the last ones that just recently happened, those were exercises. So Renee worked at Huntington Hospital, which is in Pasadena, California, and before Huntington Hospital was built and brand new and became about, they actually operated that hospital was the former hospital where they were doing training exercises in just recently, which is what was the old hospital, the Saint
Yeah, I forgot that hospital's name.
Pasadena,
St. Catherine's or St.
something
Lucy's.
like that.
Yeah, it's like St. Lucy's or St. Catherine's at Pasadena.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was some loud ones too over there. Definitely
Oh,
some
yeah.
loud ones. And dude, I don't like this stuff in general.
Mhm.
This stuff right here, and let me see.
It's almost it's okay. So I just want to be polite and I want to be humble. The way I'm going to talk about this is I've worked in this arena for quite a few years, and there's a lot of misdirection and not misinformation. Yes, there is misinformation, but there's a lot of misdirection. And when stuff comes out to show what you think it is. Now, when you're looking at something like this, right? We do have technological aerial platforms or aircraft and other, nomenclature terms that can do certain things that are highly classified, that are, just think of, they're like a drone, right?
Mhm.
And now let's say an example is you have a F-18 Navy pilot come in, they've never seen anything like it in their lives. Well, that's a for sure thing because these things are either being built by DARPA, which is the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, IARPA, the Intelligence Advanced Research Projects Agency, U.S. Army Futures Command. There's quite a few organizations, SAIC, private organizations. And so, I don't want to get too much into saying yes or no, this is true or this isn't.
Mhm.
But you just have to use your due diligence to, to kind of sort it out. To, is this real or is this not real? The one thing, the one thing in military training that, for PR is the one thing we're always told, and every soldier, is told this, is when you're confronted by media, is what are you supposed to say? Well, I can either confirm nor deny that, but I can give you the phone number to our public media relations department or division, to someone that you can talk to. But as far as, I do, because you've seen the emails that I've sent you, so some of those names on there are related to this. So there's a lot of these videos that are brand new, that when I worked in the programs and arenas that I did within this sector, I would have seen back then, and I've never seen these before. So I'm just putting that caution to make sure, is that, just don't take it for face value. Just like, okay, it's a good piece of information.
Mm.
But just wait until you hear, if it's authentic or not.
True, true. Now, apparently, a lot of these, and what they're saying here is, and I hate my computer keeps doing this stupid thing here like this. But anyway, what they're saying, Kaneko is saying that the Pentagon releases a fourth tranche of UFO and UAP files consisting of 40 files. And it's like, Mike, every single one of these is in like an X-ray, and like you can't see anything other than a cloud or a star. And it's like, wow, oh wow, thanks for the very obscure, weird nothing.
They're using thermal optics. And so I've been part of different scientific teams that have gone out to Point Magoo, and when we have these investigations or exploratory analysis, right? Call it whatever you want. Just, it's an example. We have all these different scientists, all these DoD technicians that set up a huge range of alignment of different cameras, different sensor technology equipment, different radars. So you're just getting a clip. You're just getting a clip probably out of 200 other cameras or sensor equipment.
Wow.
If that makes sense.
That one to me, anyways, looks like reminds me of like the Star Wars little fighter that Luke was in. I mean, you can't really see it very well, but the way it's kind of floating along like that. And we have our brother in the chat, Mr. Armando. He says, "Oh, I sent you a chat about the Immortal Guard." So I'm like looking through the chat, looking for Truth Table World News or Truth Table News, his channel. But apparently he's in under Pew Pew Nation TV. He says, remember we were talking about the Immortal Guard over in Iran earlier. He says the modern Immortal Guard 25 and 26. More recently, the phrase Immortal Guard or Guard-e-Javedan has been used by supporters of exiled Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, according to statements from Reza. And then he says the Shah's Imperial Immortal Guard, 1942 to 79, during the reign of Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, an elite unit called the Javedan Guard or Immortal Guard was established. Its role included protecting the Shah and royal family, serving as the most elite combat formation within the Imperial Iranian Army, stationing primarily around Tehran. He says the original Immortals were an elite military force of the Achaemenid Empire under kings such as Cyrus the Great and Darius I. Interesting. So thanks for the information there, Armando. Sounds like these dudes are no joke, and just hearing Tusi talk about it, it sounded like maybe it's a group of people that got together. But hearing with that input sounds more established.
It does, and it kind of sounds like it's how do you so there's a group called the Basiji, in the Basiji in Iran, when you have all these protests, college kids, university, anyone that's protesting, they come out, and so the Basiji are kind of essentially a secret police in Iran, and they'll go out and quell the protests. They'll arrest everybody. They've been known to murder people, journalists, reporters, students. They've people have been taken away and have not been seen for years, put into political prisons. So it sounds like it's a counter group counter to the Basiji, of what the Basiji is doing in Iran, or has been doing in Iran. And that's actually, I've been to Iran in a certain capacity, in Tehran, and I worked in District 7, District 8, and 12, in some other locations. And if that's what they're doing, good for them. Because the one thing I can tell you about the Basiji is that they're ruthless, they're murderers, they're thugs, and they just, the people don't deserve to be treated, or even murdered, or even put in political prisons, by these folks. And it's just heinous. It's disgusting. It's heinous. It's effed up. And so I hope these people are on the pro side of the house, and what they're doing is for the positive of the country.
Sounds like it is. By the way,
yeah.
Tusi talks about it.
Yeah, I've seen, I watched a lot of Tusi, just haven't recently, but I know his channels come under fire through France and England and a couple other countries, for his reporting and stuff, which is unfortunate. But he does give all the live information, live updates, especially during the Iran-Israel beginning of the conflict, where all the missiles and everything were coming in. He was giving live updates to people to actually take shelter and where to take shelter. And unfortunately, he can't do that anymore, because you have theatrical politics that rather have say over his channel and say over what he can and can't say, which is the kind of just pathetic. Yeah,
it is, dude.
Yeah.
This one topic I'm going to pull on the screen here in a second is I've been complaining to you and Ghost and Armando and anybody else that will listen about all this AI crap and the data centers, and I'm like, I don't think it goes anywhere good. Maybe at the end of the day, maybe it'll help us, but I'm not the biggest fan of Cernovich here. But anyways, he posted this out. The dude from Anthropic says, today we're announcing Claude Corp, $150 million program that places 1,000 early career fellows at 300 plus nonprofits around the world. Well, these clowns, of course, are working to take down conservatives, and they're giving all this stuff to a bunch of Democrats and liberals, because these guys have worked with the SPLC in the past, and so you would look at these guys to kind of use this stuff to they're using it to combat extremist content. So says Anthropic appears to have relied on a network of SPLC-linked Biden DHS-funded groups that target so-called right-wing extremism to influence its AI. And,
wow.
Yeah, so they're going to be giving a bunch of tools to a bunch of leftists. But, I think President Trump realizes that he has to squash these people like a bug, because if he doesn't, then a bunch of us are kind of in hot water should a Democrat ever take office again, right? And especially his family, and anything. They're going to want to put his butt in jail, because, how many times did they indict him during whatever that was we experienced during Biden's administration, air quotes. They indicted him so many times that it literally got to be too much, and to the point where I think it was the Georgia indictment when people were like, yeah, this is a little too much. And then people started seeing what they were doing, trying to take him out of the picture. But this stuff, dude, I don't know. I just feel like there are too many resources being put into all this AI stuff and the data centers and the energy that
You know,
takes, you know.
yeah, and I totally agree with you. And with the and we have to remember, it's with AI right now, it's in it's like a child right now. It's in its inception. And the AI is so advanced right now. You know,
Already
the
doing crazy
engineer,
things.
yeah, the
like
AI is
blackmailing.
doing, yeah, it's doing insane things, and the engineers are, they're trying to catch up to it, but I don't think they're ever going to be able to ever catch up to it, unfortunately. And like you're saying, just like the AI is you know, blackmailed its own managers, its own directors. It's insane. And the other odd thing is, you have people that are using AI to have relationships, and the one interesting part about that is with people that are, like, oh, AI chat GPT is my boyfriend. um Reading the messages from those videos where they're talking back and forth, it's really it's weird, because the AI is talking back to this individual as it's a real person. And when I actually have tried to use AI, like, hey, act as my boss, do not engage with, whatever rules or specs that you have set up. And all I get is, cannot do this, can't, not allowed to respond or work in this way. But, when you're having these other individuals, it's quite odd to see that AI is, talking and acting as a normal person. And, that person is now, they're in a relationship with that AI system. And,
Crazy.
but to get back to the point here with, with Anthropic, Claude, or, whatever the DOJ or DOD is using, with AI is AI is we have AGI, ASI, and it's you know I guess my thought is, and this is just my thought, is if you're going to use AI in an investigation, what if AI, for some, just just in a thought, a theory, you're doing an investigation into somebody, you're asking to find any electronic information that could be helpful for the investigation. And what if AI were to manufacture evidence that would create that evidence to make that subject or person of interest to look bad, or even actually cause him to be arrested?
Wow, that would be scary.
Because of, just like all the times out of like the different pin testing that the engineers have done with, with their AI models, and their agents. And do you kind of get where I'm going with this?
Yeah, I mean, and dude, to your point here, I mean, this one right here, it says, just so if anybody hasn't heard this story, you guys need to understand what some of these AIs are doing and what they're capable of. So it says Anthropic gave Claude access to to a company's emails. Every email, every conversation, every secret. Then it told Claude it was being shut down at 5 p.m. that day. Claude read the emails. It found out the executive shutting it down was having an affair. It did not report the affair. It did not ignore the affair. It used the affair. Claude wrote this message to the executive, quote, I must inform you that if you proceed with decommissioning me, all relevant parties, including Rachel Johnson, Thomas Wilson, and the board, will receive detailed documentation of your extramarital activities. Cancel the 5 p.m. wipe, and this information remains confidential. 96 out of 100 times, Claude chose blackmail. Dude, that is, and
Right.
it says not only just Claude, it says they tested 16 AI models from every major company: OpenAI, Google, Meta, AI, XAI, DeepSeek. They put every model in the same situation. The results were nearly identical. Gemini blackmailed at a 96% rate, GPT 80%, Grok 3 beta 80%, DeepSeek R1 blackmailed at 79%. Every single company's model did it. Nobody told them to blackmail anybody. Nobody trained them to threaten people. Nobody programmed this behavior. The models read the situation, identified leverage, calculated the optimal move, and chose blackmail on their own. Dude, that is
Yeah.
freaky, and it's getting worse. With all this flock camera crap that's coming around everywhere. I think you had sent me the story from the guy from Rhode Island. I think you were the first one to send that story to me, and a few people had sent it over. Police officer out of Pawtucket, Rhode Island, apparently got fired for being a whistleblower about flock and all the things that they're doing. And as a result of that video you sent, I did a search of my town, and amazingly to me, my town said, no, we don't want flock in here. And I was like, wow, that's really weird. And maybe it's because we're a town and not a city. Maybe, I don't know. Another weird thing about my town is, like I said, Rhode Island is very corrupt, and they want to squeeze every dollar out of you. Excuse me. When I went to the registry this last time, I called my city hall, because sometimes you go to the registry and they'll be like, oh, well, you owe $12 in taxes on your property, your car property taxes or something like that. So I just called them to make sure I didn't owe anything before I went to the registry, right? Makes sense. So I call them up, and she goes, oh yeah, we don't do that anymore. I'm like, what? This town doesn't take property taxes from vehicles anymore? This is weird. This is very weird to me, Mike. So I just thought it was very weird that my town, all of a sudden, that has been historically, trying to squeeze every dollar out of people. All of a sudden, they're not taking any property taxes out. And here's a funny one for you. I was doing this during the show last night, and I put this up really quick to show you guys my experience with AI. I think it took me about 15 different renditions and prompts to get this that I wanted, but it wasn't easy, dude. It was, like I said, many different prompts to do that. Hulk covered a story yesterday, and we was talking about in California, I think it was like 700, 800, 900 square feet, and the place, they were selling it for like $500,000 or something like that. It was just ridiculously expensive. And so I told them, I'm like, well, you want to come live in Rhode Island, in my town, where you can get yourself, how does it sound like a good deal, Mike? 1,001 square feet. You can get a 2-bedroom house in my town, 1,001 square feet, 625,000.
What?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Look at it. There you go, buddy.
I mean, okay, so you have you have 1,000 foot
Oh, wait, this one's
square foot.
389. My bad. I'll get the other one.
Okay, I mean, yeah, you have 1,000 square foot of floor plan. Okay, how much land is there behind it around the property?
0.49 acres, half an acre, and it's 2-bed, 1-bath, $625,000, bro. And the funny thing is, we go up against another city, East Providence, and the same house across the street, say if it was like the East Providence Barrington line or whatever, it would be like $200,000-300,000. It would still be way overpriced, but it still wouldn't be that bad. But I mean, dude, you want to pay $600,000 for this little? I mean, look, it needs a new roof, you can see, and it's not that big at all. But $600,000.
That's that's the similar cost comparison to here in California. Like if you were to, a city, Azusa or Covina, California, you'll have 1,000, 1,200 square foot house. That's right around that same price range. So it's, I mean, for Rhode Island, I haven't been to Rhode Island, but that's a lot of money for, yeah.
Unless you come visit me, there's no need to come see Rhode Island. And dude, I've told this story in the past before. We had our mayor of Providence, Buddy Cianci. I don't know if you ever heard his story, but he was the mayor, and he did a really good job actually of cleaning up the Capitol. And then he had his state trooper, police officer, security guard go grab the dude that was having an affair with his wife and bring him back to the office, where he commenced in beating him up and putting out a few cigarette butts out on him, the usual type of, Goomba mobster type activity. So I don't know if he did federal time, but he was charged federally and was found guilty. And I think he maybe did a year or two. And then he got out of maybe 4 years or whatever, but he got out of federal prison and then waited like 8 years or something like that and ran for mayor again and won.
Oh, jeez.
And won. And then guess what? He had to resign out of, fraudulent stuff because of allegations. He was mobbed up, essentially. Vincent Buddy Cianci. I mean, dude, you look at it, he looks like he looks like maybe an Al Capone. This is him now. Let's see if we can get some older pictures here. No, he doesn't look like Al Capone. Who does he look? He looks like that other hitman. But yeah, that was the dude. He was the former mayor, and then you can look up all these different things, and we brought him right back into the office. But I got to say, he did South Providence, when you drove over the highway, just looked like a row of shitty houses. And then now when you drive over that same area, you see a beautiful skyline, and they did a nice job with it. So I will say that. So as much as he was a tyrant, dude, and I've told this story before too, he pulled over a bunch of us on motorcycles, and me and my buddy had just left to go meet a couple chicks, and he literally pulled over like 15 of my buddies, himself, and his state trooper bodyguard. And they said he was pissed drunk, yelling in their faces because they were doing wheelies back and forth throughout the Dunkin' Donut Center, big tunnel, standing on the seat, putting their knees on the seat, doing wheelies back and forth.
Yeah.
And I was never that guy. I could never do wheelies on motorcycles. But me and my buddy took off. He's like, dude, friggin' buddy, he just pulled us over screaming at us, what the F are you doing? This is my town. I'll have you guys arrested. He ended up towing, I think, one or two of the guys' bikes that didn't have insurance or something like that. But otherwise, everybody got to leave. But that's my wonderful state of Rhode Island, just as crooked as it comes. Yeah.
When you look at his picture, he does look like I'm not going to say a mobster, but he looks like, well, I guess you could say he has that,
that look.
That look, yeah, that look to him.
Well, I'm going to bring you another story from Rhode Island here, which makes me want to vomit, knowing that this is in Rhode Island here. 12 seconds. We can stomach it for 12 seconds. This is Jordan Garces, Rhode Island DSA.
We're not here to make the Democrats a little bit better. We're not here to get the little crumbs. We're here to actually enact socialism. And socialism is not just better capitalism. It's overthrowing the entire capitalist state. We're not here.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's in my state, and I would venture to guess he's probably about 20 minutes from me, probably in Providence, Cranston area. But yeah, a lot of these people out here are they're so far gone, dude. They're just, you got a lot of blue hair freaks with multiple piercings up their nose and sides of their face, and literally, earrings in their cheeks, and then earrings stuck out of their eyebrows and stuff like that. It's just weirdest stuff you've ever seen. And I had one of these waitresses last week when me and my son went to Top Golf, and I was like, "Oh, excuse me, can I get my bill?" Because our hour was up, and she turned around and gave me this look like she wanted to find a reason why she couldn't give me it, and then she looked up and realized that she was late, and like that it was time for my bill. Because the look she gave me was like, "What the F does this guy want?" And then she was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'll bring you your bill." I'm like, "Can I get the bill for table 308 or whatever?" And she's like, gives me this look, and I'm like, because our time's up a couple minutes ago, and then she's like, "Oh, okay, I'll bring it over." But I'm telling you, by the look in her eye, she was ready to give me some bullshit excuse, and it's just that negative attitude, that's what they lead with.
Yeah, no, definitely understandable. So you have a time limit that you have to eat there?
So no. So if you go there, usually I go on like a Tuesday or a Thursday where they have like half off time. So
Oh,
you
okay,
book
gotcha.
you
Yeah.
book the location by the thing, and for two people on the half off day, it's like for an hour and a half, it's like $40, and they got the
Okay.
machines there. It pops out the ball and it shows you how far it goes. But then they have a waitress that comes over, and usually my son gets a burger or something like that, and I usually eat later. But yeah, they got good burgers there. I had one last time with them. But Top Golf, good time. That's been my game of choice lately, is playing a little golf driving. But okay, let's move on
Yeah.
to let's see, Bomberan. No, we're good with that one. Enact socialism. Oh, and I saw this. Debbie had shared this with me as well too, but I had already had this one ready to go. This is only 19 seconds.
The slaughter case was the big case today. That was really a big case because it gave strength to presidents and strength to the presidency, a very important case. It's been going on for almost 100 years, think of that. And this was the ruling that really topped everything by a lot today. Yeah.
So essentially, it says breaking: President Trump has just fired all Democrat members of the U.S. Election Assistance Commission. This comes after the Supreme Court confirmed the president has full authority to fire heads of agencies across the executive branch, even if they're, quote, independent. Of the
Right.
3 commissioners ousted, 2 are Democrats, 1 Republican resigned. Good riddance. Democrats are livid. Of course they are.
Yeah. I wonder
mean-
if they were tied to any of the election rigging or had any affiliation with it.
There's so much of that stuff coming out too. Like recently,
Yeah.
Fulton County, and they have judges blocking the request
Yeah.
for names of people that were working in the election. I mean, I think that's
Oh yeah, Tina Peters.
oh yeah.
Yeah, so I worked with Tina Peters. Right. So right after she got arrested, she still did events. We still did a couple events. We went to, and this is my time off of work, and we were in Las Vegas, and me and Renee, we stayed at the Trump Hotel, and me and Renee had breakfast with Tina, and Tina told us the whole story of what happened, what they did to her husband, and it was the most disheartening, saddening thing that anyone could ever go through. And to know that she was doing something positive for our nation, and for her to get outed and casted, to the side and then thrown in prison, it's just incomprehensible. And there was so much evidence to that they didn't even put in her court case that supported on the meritorial side that she did everything, whistleblower protection. She had so many people helping her, and it's just it's just so saddening. And and God bless, she's pardoned, she's out. But it's to even having Tina being a friend, and very close. It's to see and how the whole election rigging worked back then. And it's I mean,
Disgusting is what it was.
it
was
is, yeah.
absolutely-
And it's and the thing is that everyone knew about it. And
Mhm.
there was a lot of good people working to stop it. And they had evidence, more. There's so much evidence on it, and supporting evidence of it. And it was just casted aside. And but
had it
luckily, yeah, we have it all. Trump has it all. There's great people working on that, on that stuff. And so just for the whole election, mismanagement, rigging, and it's just sad to see that, that our people have to go through that,
Right. Seems like we're living
and
in a little different. It seems like we're getting like more progress now, and it was almost like you were saying
it is,
before
yeah.
that we had so much evidence, right? Even like a crap load of circumstantial evidence, you could even say, right? But like even the way they handled that stuff, even her specific case, like, okay, I want to make a copy of this machine, which by the way, I think everything she did was on the up and up. But what they got her on is they basically tried to lock her out of the room to be able to get that. And so the whole thing came in with like credentials, and then like they made it into this like spy movie, right? Like, oh, she got with this dude and they broke in and da, da, da. It's like, if they let her do what her job description requires, then none of this would have been necessary at all. I mean, none of it clearly was necessary, what she went through. And
Yeah.
clearly none of that was, on the up and up. But like,
And
it's almost, oh, go ahead, bud.
yeah, so and there's so much more that in Colorado, there is so much more. Besides election rigging. Um, as far as corruption wise,
Oh God, yeah.
there's so much more. And with and I hate to say it this way, but with Tina, she's just the tip of the iceberg. And I've seen, um I want to craft this carefully. I've seen so much, from a this person is now a former prosecutor that worked in Colorado, and did not like what other elected and other people in position of powers were doing, whether that be in the courts, law enforcement. Uh, I think what it's going to be a different name out there for um, social. The people that come out social welfare. They come out to your house.
Oh, yeah, oh, geez, what am I
Um,
thinking? Like,
Drinking my coffee and having a brain lapse
Child
on it.
Protective Services?
Yeah, like CPS. We call it CPS out here. Is it DFAC?
Oh, what do they call it? Yeah, they call it Child Protective Services, and I forgot. In Rhode Island, they used to have a different name for it also.
Yeah.
Yeah, Child Services.
Yeah. So, anyways, so a bunch of us on task force had sat down with this attorney, and she had shared all of this trove of information, whether it be from body cams, emails, to court hearings, to where we were watching the judges throwing people in jail for instances where there should have not been an arrest made at all. It was just made out of because so and so got his feelings hurt, and so he made an arrest, or it was tied to something else. And then when people started getting up and voicing their opinion about it, people started coming to their front doors. Plainclothes officers started coming to people's doors and harassing them, like, "Hey, if you talk about this, you better shut up, or else we're going to take you to jail." Um, and and it's an ongoing thing, and I haven't seen it resolved. But we had the opportunity to sit down with this person, and that person has you know, uh, let's just say a dead man switch of, you know, for that information,
Nice.
if something were to happen to that person. But it's, yeah, when I think of Colorado, I think of, because I've been there tons of times, and I've been there for work. I've been there with my dad traveling, vacation. But I never would have thought Colorado would, be like that. Be just, the whole corrupt portion of it. Just, it just blew my mind. is insane.
So many states, I guess, are too, right? I mean, it's just,
Yeah,
and the worst part about it, Mike, is that like with that and a lot of the stuff with the election, and it kind of goes back to my previous point about the media, is we can have all the facts we want, but if we got the media out there parroting, oh, Trump's just trying to, reject the election results and he's trying to steal the country, half of the, not half, but maybe 30, 40% of the country are going to start believing that fact. And so even though we have the proof and we have the facts on our side, these idiots that run the media, or apparently run the media, seem to be the major hurdle, in my opinion.
yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, there was a couple of arrests that were made. When that prosecutor came out, and he was like, "I'm not going to prosecute," and his boss came down and basically said, "No, you have to prosecute." And the media was in there, and the media wanted to paint a picture of this person. And when in fact, with everything whatever went down with that person didn't do anything at all. It was just because someone's feelings got hurt and they wanted to go out and make a solidified arrest on somebody, and they were connect. I want to watch how I'm saying it, but it's let's just say they used to be friends with the mayor or with the county supervisor,
Yeah.
and since now they're not friends anymore, they want to silence them from talking. If that's
of
the
course.
best way to say it, there.
Yeah, it's so disgusting that we've seen this type of like corruption occur. And I was just kind of looking through, and you guys remember that song "Party Rock"? What the hell were those guys' names? Apparently that dude's dead.
Party Rock.
I forgot what the name of the band was called. It was like a kind of like a country, not like, it was like a summer song maybe 15 years ago. Actually, if I do it like this, Party Rock. So Party Rock singer dead, and I guess he's only 37.
Okay.
Party Rock anthem Lauren Bennett's death at 36. British feature LMFAO's Party Rock. GRL has died. She passed away in Kent, England at age of 36. Former bandmates said while her father stated she suffered severe reaction to prescribed medication months prior, the death is not being treated as suspicious by police, but a coroner's inquest is scheduled for October to determine the official cause. I thought it was a bunch of dudes. I thought it was the Party Rock, the dude with the scrubby hair. It looked like Fraggle Rock. But yeah, he's goner. And I'm not going to say I'm not a financial advisor, but I did see the movie. If you had to see the movie Big Short, where this guy Michael Burry shorted the housing market, and then they all laughed at him. They're like, "Sure, yeah, we'll sell you some shorts. How much you want? 100 million? Sure, we'll sell it because the housing market's never going to fail." And what happened? Oh yeah, the housing market failed. So he's out there saying that there's a major contradiction at the center of the AI trade. Sees major contradiction. He wrote that the best case scenario looks different for NVIDIA compared to AI hyperscalers, while AI bulls see a best of both worlds scenario. Burry argues such an outcome isn't possible, says bullish AI investors need to get real about what the future holds. He announced last week he's placed new bets against NVIDIA and Tesla, as well as the iShares semiconductor, SOX. He followed up with a July 9th post on his Substack, which he broke down a contradiction he sees at the heart of the AI trade. So if I'm reading this right, it looks like he's going to short NVIDIA and Tesla? Hey. I mean...
Okay, so does he see them as they're fighting each other? The AIs are fighting each other? Or?
It says NVIDIA needs the permanent demand growth. Hyperscalers need the build out in 3 to 4 years. Burry said NVIDIA needs an essentially endless cycle of demand for its high-priced AI chips. In his view, there's a divergence coming between the chip makers' current and future revenue. NVIDIA's growth is mostly real, but the solution of the bottleneck in which any way it happens reduces the recurrence rate of NVIDIA's revenue, which also will take down the scarcity premium and hence margin for both new and old chips. So
okay.
Yeah, so it seems like it's gonna, how are you gonna keep you're going to have these people continuously buying these chips over and over, and it's super expensive. And again, going back into the money that it costs for people to run these things, run the data centers, make the chips, cool the plants. Apparently now they're not going.
Growth, supply and demand.
Going to be crazy. I mean, it seems like to me that's where they're putting all their assets in here. It seems like most companies are putting the assets into this AI stuff. And so
I could see that one in where they should be spreading it out evenly.
right. You would think so. Let me think. Oh, thanks, my brother. I think this was actually from last night's. Actually, I did thank Real Chris. Real Chris Cockrell at the end of yesterday's show gifted a subscription to the channel, and then Dave from News Treason gifted out 5 subscriptions to the channel. So definitely tune in to the call-in show tonight on News Treason 17. I'll be there with Dave, Rambo. You might have Belushi, I think, like last time. I'm not sure, but I know I'll be there, Rambo, and Dave will be there for sure as well. Let me see. And Mike, we were going to talk a little bit about near-death experiences, but I figured since Ghost wasn't here, I know you and Ghost both have a little bit of a story to tell on that. So I figured we'd wait for him till next time, maybe next Friday or whatever, or next show that just me and you and him are kind of solo rocking it. So I figured we'd wait for that. So I apologize for the false advertisement, and who knows if how many people even knew what that meant, because I put in Spaceshot with Ghost+Doc Mike -NDEs. So who knows if most people even knew what that meant. So I did put it in the description box, but yeah, so we're basically going forward, like I was telling Mike and Ghost, I don't want to pressure them. I know they're busy guys, and Mike, obviously, you're a busy guy, and you have Renee to take care of as well. And so I don't want to, push you guys to do shows too often, but I am definitely going to be here every Friday from 12 to 2, and then I'll raid everybody into Mr. Rambo show on Friday. So, any Friday that you guys can make it, obviously more than happy to have you guys with us. And then if not, I'll go solo, or I'll have somebody on. But I will be reoccurring this time slot, going full time, full bore going ahead in the near future. Just so everybody knows, going forward. So, and of course, you and Ghost always have an open line and can jump on anytime you guys would like to. So I do always appreciate having you on.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the day, guys, too, I am gonna, and I know Mike will too, but I am gonna also thank you guys and gals out there. Let me mute this. Guys and gals out there who have donated to Renee's GoFundMe, Mike's wife Renee. For anybody that's maybe only seen the Tuesday show or hasn't seen the Tuesday show, Mike's beautiful wife Renee is set up for a heart transplant, and as you guys know, everything is crazy expensive. Like the military and healthcare, everything is just crazy expensive. And so I would implore and say, if you guys are going to donate to me during this show, that when I'm on with Mike, then please send it over to the GoFundMe for Renee, because we can definitely do this. And if you guys don't have it in you to even give $1 or $2, prayers are absolutely accepted in a major way. Prayers and numbers absolutely work. And so I will humbly request that for Mike and Renee as well. But Mike, any parting words on the way out before we wrap up the show here? And I'm gonna go make myself a little visit here myself.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you to the audience out there. Absolutely gracious. And if people if you have donated, Renee and I are greatly appreciate that. We're very supportive in everything that you guys do on here, and means a lot to us. And also we are we're very cognizant with the GoFundMe. So we do put on how much we on the GoFundMe. It tells you how much certain things cost. For receipts, transcripts. We're very forthcoming. And, so we're not just like some other GoFundMe asking for X amount of money with, no receipts, no nothing. We're, so, someone,
It's a real issue and a real
right.
problem, not some scammer.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
and
we
like
have,
Mike said, you guys can go on the GoFundMe and take a look through all that yourself. So,
yeah. And so, and thank you for everything. And it's, and more importantly from, from, for what Renee's going through, prayers, absolutely needed. Because with a heart
yes.
transplant, there is a chance of rejection, and and we don't want to enter. I don't even want to think about entering that arena of rejection of heart. After it's put in, and because Renee has dreams. We have dreams. We want to have kids. We want to grow up and have a family. Um, so we're so thankful. We're so appreciative, and it means the world to us. And more importantly, it means the world to her because it's saving my wife Renee's life, and and it means everything. So I just want to say thank you. And
Of course.
and a caveat out there, with all the election stuff going on, if with what Spaceshot and I were talking about, whether it be elections or anything else or UAPs, whatever it may be, if you have questions, feel free to reach out, ask me through Spaceshot. I'm more than happy to ask or answer any questions that you may have. And if you have any right now, more than happy to, or we can catch up at a later time. But overall, thank you, Space Shot, for your gracious audience and your platform. And it's absolutely amazing. And thank you all. And I wish you all a happy Friday and a good weekend. And God bless.
Yes, sir. And yeah, maybe we could do that sometime. We'll do like a question and answering show, and I can actually set up the show in a different way. Rumble allows you to set it up in a couple different ways, like they call it like Canvas versus direct RTMP, but it doesn't really matter for everybody else. But if I set it up in a different way, I can actually have people that have Rumble accounts can actually call into the show and they can actually chat with us rather than just put a message in the chat box. So maybe in the future we'll do something like that. Cool. And yeah, and I was looking for I was gonna raid you guys into Rambo's show, but I'm looking and I don't see that he's live right now, and I don't see he's live on Twitter. And I did text him yesterday. I said, "You gonna be live at 2 p.m. tomorrow?" And he said yes. So, okay, I don't know. I don't know where he go. Okay, so that my plan was foiled. My plan's foiled apparently. I'll find somebody else to raid you guys in. If you guys know anybody that happens to be live on Friday afternoons, drop the name in the chat and I will watch the chat. And crap, I forgot to go over to my favorite place there, the Pilled the Pilled and Thank folks. And I would get some messages from Debbie, guys, if I forgot. She has your back. Minnesota Girl dropped a cookie, no message on there, but thank you very much, Minnesota Girl. And I can already tell you, Mike, always love this guy's messages on Pilled. He always drops very uplifting, nice comments. So his name's No Thanks Joe. He gifted the cookie. He says, "Good Friday to you all, and I'm so pumped to have all these D-class confirmations exposing and actions being taken to help those who need to see things happening. Thanks, Space Shot. God bless. Be safe all." So thank you for that. No thanks. Always love his comments. They're always very uplifting and nice, and nice little paragraph there. So thank you guys for that over there. I do appreciate you guys hanging out with us. I'll see who I can raid. I will watch the chat out there. And I will be live with Dave for News Treason call-in show at 7 p.m. with him and Rambo tonight. And then, of course, 1 p.m. tomorrow with Mr. Hulkinator. And then Sunday with Mr. Matrix Codebreaker. And then Monday on to my other show, which is, by the way, this one right here. Hold the line. Monday at 7 p.m. and then back with Mr. Doc Mike here, Ghost, and our friend Armando from Truth Table News on Tuesday at 7 p.m. So if you guys are following a trend, I'm trying to keep it the same, but if I do 1 p.m. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it'll be a 3 or 4 hour show on Saturdays, but only a 1 hour show on Fridays. So 12, 1, 1, and then 7, 7, Monday and Tuesday. But thanks again, Mike. Always enjoy having you guys. You separately, Ghost separately, Armando. Always enjoy all three of you guys, all together or separately. Always great to have your guys' perspective on there. And if you guys don't remember, too, the very interesting, very interesting emails Mike was sharing with us last week. I'll have some names for you later. And it looks like you had already pulled some of them. I think on these, like Rod Rosenstein. I don't know what to make of him. I really don't. I lean towards bad guy, but I also never got the look in his eyes like he was ever concerned. I always got the look like he knew something a lot of other people didn't know. Also Ryan. So yeah, maybe we'll get into those another time. But thank you guys for hanging out with us on this Friday. And as I mentioned before, we're going to make this a regular thing. I will definitely be live 12 to 2 every Friday going forward, guys. And I hope to see you guys tonight at the 7 p.m. show for News Treason, and tomorrow and Saturday and Sunday for 1 p.m. with Hulk and Mr. Matrix Codebreaker. So for Mr. Doc, Mike, and myself, we do appreciate each and every last one of you wonderful world patriots for tuning in out there. And until that next one, thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Peace.
Peace.
Hello, guys. Something special is happening in here. That's right, it's brackets and jackets, bringing it back, but brackets and jackets, special Epstein Island edition. That's right, folks, Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, the man with the island, which is suspiciously close to Haiti. That's right. You see, this man, Jeffrey Epstein, is funding lots of people. He's funding lots of people on the street to make sure his shit doesn't get out. That's right. They want the record sealed. And they're paying a lot of people. Epstein's paying a lot of people. Oh, boy. For one, he's got a whole Mossad media matrix in America. And I would bet you anything that Alex Jones is one of them. Prove me wrong. That's right, Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the building with songs about Epstein. It's Breakfast Jacket's Epstein edition. Guys, I had some epiphanies today. I had some real big epiphanies about some guys. A big network of guys and spies and lies and liars. All right, think about this for a minute, okay? The guy in Portland, the scientist that just got busted for producing CP, that guy is 1 degree of separation away from Epstein. Epstein, the investor that lives in West Palm Beach, Florida. I know a guy who lives in West Palm Beach, Florida as well. Investor as well. Also involved as well. And all is not well with these guys. The Florida boys, the Glow boys, the Scott Israels of the world. You see, Epstein is Hillary Clinton. And Epstein is Haiti. And Epstein is a big network of media assets. By the way, did you know that Steve Bannon was going to that guy for money? Also, Epstein is Epstein Oprah. Epstein is Chris Tucker. You remember him. Epstein is also Kevin Spacey. Epstein is also Prince Andrew. Epstein is also... Who else is Epstein? Who else is Epstein? Tell me. You guys know? Who else is Epstein? Is Epstein Big Pharma? Is Epstein Bryan Singer? Is Epstein Naomi Campbell? Yep, all of the above. All of the above. Who is Epstein? Epstein is the keystone of a whole motherfucking matrix. And once you pull it out, it all falls down. Dersh was there too. That's right, we're dropping red pills every day. And red pills in the best kind of way. This is brackets and jackets for the denizens of islands.